In this section, we're going to talk about the 3 types of cartilage that you need to know, as well as bone and blood. Hyaline cartilage is going to play an extremely important role in forming the embryonic skeleton, as well as being important for your bone's ability to articulate, as well as providing a lot of structure within the respiratory system. Its job is going to be to support various parts of the body. It is avascular. If you have ever had an articular cartilage problem in any of your joints, say your knee joint, it is almost impossible for this to heal because of the fact this type of connective tissue is avascular. So when you're looking at this, I want you to see that there are these cells, which are known as chondrocytes, chondro for cartilage, sites for mature cells, that are in these little pockets, which are known as lacunae. The ground substance, matrix, will be around those pockets, the lacunae. And this is what it looks like. So you can see pockets, each with a chondrocyte within it. And the matrix looks extremely smooth, almost like you can ice skate on it. Do not remember or try to memorize the stains of any of these types of connective tissue, or actually any connective tissue or any cell, except for one. There is an exception, and I'll tell you what it is when we get there, because depending on what stain they use when preparing slides, the colors might be different. So that's hyaline. We're going to move on to elastic cartilage. And when you look at elastic cartilage, it looks kind of crazy. This type of cartilage will also contain the chondrocytes sitting within lacunae, but you are going to have elastic fibers within the matrix, and hence, to me, it looks like dirty hyaline. So it does have the same characteristics as hyaline cartilage, except it's going to also include elastic fibers in the matrix. Where are you going to find it? In your external ear. If you ever flip your ear down, it flips back into place because of the elastic cartilage. It is also going to be found in the epiglottis, and its job is to help maintain shape of the structure and provide flexibility. So you can see the lacunae. It's a little bit harder to see the chondrocytes in this, but you can see that the matrix kind of looks like it's got stuff in it, and it's because it does. It has those elastic fibers in it. Fibrocartilage is going to be less firm than both hyaline and elastic cartilage, and it's going to play hugely important roles in what are known as symphyses. When you talk about the intervertebral discs, when you talk about the disc in between the pubic bones, they will be fibrocartilaginous discs. It has a lot of tensile strength because it's going to contain a fair amount of collagen, and it will also provide shock absorption. This is the only one that I will tell you can memorize the lovely blue color, because the majority of slides that you're going to find in lab, if you see slides when you're on campus, will be stained this color blue. You do need to know where you will find fibrocartilage, however. Again, that's going to be found in the discs in between the vertebrae, the intervertebral discs, as well as in the pubic symphysis, which is the disc in between the two pubic bones. Now, we have 2 other connective tissues that you need to know. One is going to be bone, and this is one of the ones that you pray for on a test, because once you've seen it, it's like, oh yeah, that's bone. Bone has a hard calcified matrix. It is going to form the skeletal system. Actually, bone forms from a hyaline cartilage template in many of the bones. It is highly vascular, it is highly innervated, so that's why if you've ever broken a bone, it hurts like heck, and it heals really fast within 6 weeks. The fact that bone can heal within 6 weeks when the matrix is so hard is pretty amazing. It's because it's very vascular. It has a very, very strong and big blood supply. What does bone do? Well, I'm going to give you all its functions because in the not so distant future, we're going to be jumping into the skeletal system. Yay. It's going to help protect. Think about the rib cage protecting the heart and the lungs. It's going to support. Think about what we would be if we didn't have a skeletal system. Giant bag of protoplasm that wouldn't be able to move. We would be on the ground. Movement, yes, because bone provides a series of levers around which skeletal muscle contract. It is going to store mineral salts, calcium, phosphorus, etc. It is also going to store lipids. Wait, what? Fat. Yeah. We have yellow bone marrow in our bones when you're an adult, and that is lipid storage. And last but not least, hematopoiesis. What the heck is that? Hematopoiesis is this, the production of all formed elements. So your red blood cells, your white blood cells, and your platelets all arise from areas in the bone. And this is what it looks like. It looks like those concentric tree rings. Yahoo! You hope for this on an examination because this is really easy to remember. So let's break this down a little bit. This is a nice to know at this point, but I want you to hear these terms so you have heard them when we jump into the skeletal system, when we're talking about bones. Where's my cursor? Whoops. I don't know. I can't see my cursor. So I guess we're not going to be talking about that. So you see the large, I'm going to talk about it anyway. You see the large dot in the middle of your tree rings? That is what's known as the central canal. It will house blood vessels, nerves, and lymphatic vessels. The tree rings themselves are layers that are known as lamellae, fancy word for saying layer. And if you take a look at the lamellae, you will see smaller, dark areas surrounded around or in those tree rings. Those darker spots, the larger ones, are lacunae, sure enough, and they are going to house mature bone cells, which are known as osteocytes. And if you look really closely, you're going to see these very, very thin hair-like structures. Those are what are known as canaliculi, singular is canaliculus, and they are going to be these teensy tiny little canals that are within bone, which allow for intercellular communication in between the osteocytes. So there you have it, and we will go over these again when we actually talk about the skeletal system. Blood is another one of those slides you pray for. Please, 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 please. Let us put blood on an assessment because it's so easy to recognize. Blood will be composed of red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets sitting in an atypical fluid matrix plasma. It is found within blood vessels. It's found within the lumen of blood vessels, and its job is to move gases, nutrients, and wastes everywhere in the body. And this is why I know you pray for this on an exam or an assessment, because once you've seen it, it's really hard to forget.